Hi guys, welcome to section B of the set 3 paper, although it says practice set 2 on the front, which is a little bit confusing. So we're going to be doing this one. Obviously, you're going to need your calculator and maybe one of these. I think you're going to need one of these as well. We'll come to that in a minute. Obviously, everything will be provided to you in the exam. Just bring your mask, glasses, if you have any, and any ID as well. Yeah, everything else will be provided for you. So section B, total marks for this section is 42 marks. So with the section A altogether, you'll have a total of 56 marks. Okay, let's have a look. Section B, question 1. Jasper decorates flower pots to sell in his shop. He knows that it takes 12 minutes to decorate a flower pot. Jasper works from 9:30 a.m. until 12:50 p.m. on Tuesday. He takes 20 minutes for a coffee break at 10:30 a.m. How many flower pots does Jasper decorate on Tuesday? 3 marks for this one. So this one is obviously to do with time, and time is not like any other topic. You know, you can't use take away or add in or anything like that for time. You know, you probably could, but you know, I wouldn't recommend it, you know, because if you had to borrow from an hour, you're not borrowing tens, hundreds of thousands, you're borrowing 60 minutes, you know, if you're borrowing from an hour. So yeah, it just makes things a lot complicated if you start using subtraction or anything like that. So me personally, I like to use a timeline, you know. So let's start off with, our starting point is 9:30 a.m. and our finish, oops, how do you spell finish? That's how you spell it, yeah. Finish time is 12:50. However you get there is completely your choice. So, you know, let's do in how many hours it would take and how many minutes it would take to get from 9:30 a.m. to 12:50. We'll deal with the 20-minute break later on. Yeah, let's work out how many hours and minutes it takes for this first. So, from 9:30 to 10:30, that'll be 1 hour. To 11:30 will be another hour. To 12:30, let's do it to 12:30 p.m. Yeah, so from there to there, that's 3 hours. Yeah, so you're adding 3 hours. Let's just leave it as hours. So now we're on 12:30, and then from 12:30 to 12:50, that's an extra 20 minutes. So altogether, it is 3 hours and 20 minutes. Yeah. We can change that to whole minutes, you know. So obviously 3 hours is 3 times 60. So that will be 3 times 60, which is 180. We can use your calculators now if you wish, plus the 20, which is 200 minutes. Yeah, so 3 hours, 20 minutes is the same as 200 minutes. Okay. So we need to take away 20 minutes for the break. Yep, for the break, we need to get rid of that. So with the break, it is 200, take away 20 minutes. You could have taken it away to begin with. You know, you could have taken away that 20 minutes there that he doesn't need. Makes no difference, really. You're going to get 180 minutes. That's how many minutes he's going to work for on the Tuesday, 180 minutes in total. Yep, without the break. So however you get that makes no difference. But I wouldn't recommend doing it as a subtraction. You know, don't do 12:50, take away 9:30. I wouldn't recommend doing it that way. Yeah, you might get the answer, but you know, when you have to borrow from hours and so forth, you know, it just messes things up. So do it like this, do it as a timeline. You could have done it in more stages. You could have gone from 9:30 to 11:30, 11:30 to 12, and then 12 to 12:50. However you do it, however you get from 9:30 to 12:50, makes no difference how many steps it takes. You should get the same answer. So he works, or he knows that it takes 12 minutes to decorate a flower pot. So how many 12s go into this? So we're going to have to divide it by 12. Yeah, we've got a calculator now. So if you do 180 divided by 12, it's exactly 15 on the calculator. Yeah, and that's going to be 15 flower pots. Yeah, or you can write it here in your answer box. So you should get 15 as your answer. There's your 3 marks right there. Yeah, so you need to you do need to show some kind of working out for your 3 marks. You can't just put 15 and that's it. Do show some kind of working out. Make sure it makes sense for the person marking it. Let's move on. Question 2. Cruz is the editor of a magazine. The magazine has 40 pages. Magazine must have 20% of the pages for adverts, quarter of the pages for photos, the remaining pages for articles. Okay, work out a number of pages for articles in the magazine. So this is one of those questions where we've got a mixture of some things are percentages, some things are fractions, some things are decimals. We want it to all be the same thing, ideally, or you can just work it out, you know, how many pages would it be for each. You could do it that way as well. In fact, yeah, let's do it that way. There's loads of ways of doing these, but we have to understand that there's 3 things going on. There's adverts, photos, and the remaining pages are articles, which is what we want. Yeah, so for adverts, we're told 20% of the magazine, or 20% of the pages are to do with adverts. A quarter of the pages are for photos, and the remaining, which we don't know. That's what we're trying to find out. So what is it? 20% of what though? 20% of 40. Yeah, that's the total. So you could work out 20% of 40. Yeah, don't use that method where you work out 10% and then so on. You know, you've got your calculator. Let's just work out 20% in one go. 20% of 40 equals, you get your answer straight away, 8. And that's pages. Do write what it represents. Don't just put 8 on its own. Quarter of 40. Again, you can use the divide symbol for that. So you can do 1 divided by 4 times 40 gives you 10 pages. So already we've got, how many have we got? We've got, well, 10 plus 8 gives you 18. Well, if that's 18, the remaining must be 40. Take away 18, which is 22. And there's your answer, 22 pages. There's loads of ways of doing these. You know, however you get your answer, again, it makes no difference. You don't have to do it this way, by the way. There's loads of ways. You could have worked out what percentage it was for the articles. You could have worked out what fraction it was for the articles first, and then work out that fraction of 40 pages. You know, there's loads of ways of doing these. This is probably the best way for this one, to be honest. Quick and easy. 4 marks just for doing that. I think it's very straightforward, to be honest. Should be straightforward for you guys, I mean, not for me. Let's move on. Question 3. Amy wants new skirting boards in her living room. Skirting boards will go along the bottom of each wall, not go across the doorway, not go across the fireplace. Right, so we can see that. Amy has this sketch of her living room. Okay, skirting boards come in lengths of 2.4 meters. The lengths of skirting board can be cut and joined. How many lengths of skirting board does Amy need? You must show your work. 5 marks. Wow, 5 marks for this. And look, they give you a ton of space. How are we going to do this one? Right. So anything to do with diagrams like this or shapes like this, first thing you should ask yourself, is this to do with area or perimeter? They're both different. You know, technically you could have the same shape, they could be talking about perimeter. Then again, they could be talking about area. Which one is it? A lot of people said area because a lot of people said area in the class because, oh, they've given us a rectangle. Well, it's not necessarily the case that it's always going to be area. Yeah. Let's look at the clues. What are the clues in the question? Where is the skirting board that they're talking about? Where is it going? Yeah. It goes along the bottom of each wall. Right. So it's going to go around these things, these edges right here. Not go across the doorway and not go across the fireplace. So it's not going to go in this inside space. It's not going to go inside here. That's the floor. Yeah, we're looking at the top, aren't we? This is a bird's eye view of the room. And you know, skirting board goes around a room, doesn't it? I know it's inside, but not the whole of the inside of that, is it? It's inside here. It goes along the edge of your walls. Just like in real life. So definitely not area for this one. It is perimeter, definitely. And how do we do perimeter? Well, you just add up all the sides. You know, I wouldn't use a formula for that. Just add up all the sides. But we're not adding everything, are we? We're not including this, and we're not including this. So, oh, 1 second. This here is in millimeters. Everything else, let me just double check. That's in meters, that's in meters, that's meters. The skirting boards are in meters. The only one that's different is this one. Let me just delete that. This one here that I've just circled. That's in millimeters. So, what's the best way of doing this? You could, well, we're going to have to change them all to the same thing, definitely. Again, you know, it makes no difference what you change them to. Probably the easiest way is changing that millimeters to meters because everything else is in meters. Let's change that one to meters. Let's do that first, in fact. So you need to know that there are 100 centimeters in 1 meter. Yeah, that's one of the facts you need to know, definitely. 1 meter equals 100 centimeters. You also need to know that 1 centimeter equals 10 millimeters. Yeah, that's another fact you guys need to know. Right. So let's use that. If 1 meter is 100 centimeters, 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. 1 meter is going to be 10 times 100, which is 1,000 millimeters. Yeah. So, you know, again, you could work it out. You could change it to centimeters first and then change it to meters if you wish. You could do it in stages, or you can do it in one go. Makes no difference. Do look for clues in the question. Clues in the name. Millimeter literally means milli is 1,000th of something. So a millimeter is 1,000th of a meter. Like you have a milliliter. A milliliter is 1,000th of a liter. Very, very similar to that. So do look for little clues like that. So let's use this. So I'm going to have to, let's use that. 1 meter equals 1,000 millimeters, right? How many millimeters we got? We got 900 millimeters. How do I get from that to that? Well, it's decreasing. It's gone down. What's a good way of doing that? I'm gonna have to divide it by. 1,000. Just double check. 900 divided by 1,000. Yeah, that's right. So if it's how many of these go into that is 0.9. So basically it's less than a meter. It's just less than a meter. Let me show you what I did. Basically, I went from 1,000 to 900. Let me just delete that. I went from 1,000 to 900. The way I did that is I saw how many thousands go into that, and it's less than 0.9. It's like multiplying by 0.9. So where did that 0.9 come from? Basically, I did a 900 divided by 1,000. Yeah. So technically, this is 0.9 times bigger than that. Well, smaller. Sorry. Yeah. So it's going smaller from 1,000 to 900. You multiply by 0.9. It's a little bit confusing, but basically we get 0.9 here. Yeah. There's your working out right there, if you understand that. It's a little bit hard to explain, but basically where did that 0.9 come from? I had to look at how many thousands go into the 900. That's where that 0.9 comes from. Yeah. So you're multiplying by 0.9 on one side, you'll have to multiply the other side by 0.9. So 900 millimeters is the same as 0.9 meters. You get 1 mark just for doing that, by the way, showing that this equals 0.9 meters. What's next? We've got 1 mark so far. Let's work out the perimeter. Perimeter is where you add them all up. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add it all up to begin with, and then I'm going to take away these 2 things we don't need. We don't want the doorway, don't want the fireplace. Yeah, then we're not getting mixed up. We're not missing any sides. Let's do the total, which is 6.5 plus 4.5 plus another 6.5 at the bottom plus 4.5 on that side. Okay, that should be, I think, is it 22? Let me just double check. Yeah, 22 meters. Yeah, that's our second mark. So that's the total perimeter. Now we need to take away the fireplace, take away the door. So 22 minus that, which is the fireplace, and take away the door, which is now 0.9 meters. So 22 take away 1.2, take away 0.9. We get 19.9 meters. That's your third mark. So however you get this answer at 19.9, this is not a final answer, by the way. We need to see this. Yeah, so the people marking it, the Edexcel examiner, whoever's marking it, they need to see that you've got 19.9 for the perimeter of this this room, without the fireplace, without the door, because we don't want them. Yeah, however you get it, makes no difference. Okay, so that's the third mark. What's next? We need to, they're asking how many lengths of skirting board does Amy need? Right. So how many lengths? Well, each length is 2.4. So how many 2.4s go into that? How many 2.4s go into that will tell us how many lengths. So let's do 19.9 divided by 2.4. That gives you 8.2916, and it goes on forever. And that's lengths. Okay. So that's our fourth mark. Now, fifth mark is saying that we need more than that. So we need 8 wouldn't be enough. You can't go into the shop and buy 0.29 of a length. You know, she's buying lengths. She's buying whole lengths. They're not cutting it at the shop. I know it says the lengths of the skirting board can be cut and joined, but they're not saying that's at the shop. That's Amy who's doing that when she's actually putting the skirting board down. So how many lengths do we need? Well, you can't have 8 point something of a length. 8 wouldn't be enough. So you're going to need 9 lengths. Yeah, you can check it if you want. You know, if you do 8 times 2.4, you're not going to get 19.9 meters. It's not going to be enough. 8's not going to be enough. You're going to need one more, which is 9. Yeah, and that's your 5th mark right there. Yep. So that's that done. That's 5 marks for that. Okay. Yep, just follow the steps. You can't go wrong. Let's move on. Question 4. John is milkman. Table shows information about the types of milk John delivers each day. So we've got the angle for skimmed, semi-skimmed whole. Draw a pie chart. Show this information. Remember to label the chart. 3 marks. Right. So whenever you get any type of question like this, you definitely need one of these protractors. Again, like I said, you'll get given these in the exam. Let me go onto this. So how do we do this? They've already drawn the first line for you. Yep. So you need to use that. So you place your protractor on its side. Can you guys see if you put it on its side, you've got 0 right at the top. Okay. And you need to put that cross. Can you see where it's a cross right in the middle? And it's a bit fiddly. But you need to put that right in the center there. And just double check that's in the center. Yeah. Make sure it's accurate. When it's in the right place, just make sure it's lined up completely straight, vertical there. What's the first reading? Well, we need to do 60 degrees. So 0 is here. There's 10, 20, 30, 40. 60 is there. Just put a little mark on the paper where you think 60 is. It's about there. Remove your protractor out of the way, and you're going to need a straight line. How am I going to do this? Let's see. It's a bit fiddly with this, but let's try it this way. Straight line from the center to that mark you just made. So from there to there. Let me make that thicker. There you go. Yep, and label that. Label the chart. So the first one was skimmed. So skimmed is here. Make sure you do pie charts with a pencil as well, please, guys, in the real exam. Don't use a pen. It's very easy to get these wrong. Then you get your next angle, which is 165. You put your protractor not here. You're going to have to put it on the new line that you just created. So I'm going to have to spin it around a little bit. Let me just move it down. Yeah, that's pretty good. Let me just make sure it's accurate. That looks pretty good. What was it? 165. Yep. So now again, my 0 is now there on the new line. 165 is going to be, if you go all the way around, it's gone past 90. 165 is here. There. Let's put a mark there. Yep. Remove your protractor out of the way. Draw a line. Again, from the center to there. Yeah, obviously you guys use a ruler. So that's 165. Let's label it. That one is semi-skimmed. So this section here is semi-skimmed. And the last one should be 135 if you've done it right. You don't need to do the last one. Let's measure it, but it should be 135. Let me put it on the It's a bit fiddly with this. It's a bit fiddly in real life as well, to be honest. But you'll get used to it. Let's put it there, slightly off. That's good enough. Yeah, so can you see if 0 is here, your new line, there's the line that they drew originally right there. Yeah, it's about 134, 135. If you've done it right, if you're about 1 degree out, that's absolutely fine. 1 or 2 degrees, 2 degrees max. Any more than that, though, you know, you would get marked down. So you have to be as accurate as possible. And obviously, let's label that. That's going to be your whole milk. Let me just move the protractor out of the way. And whole milk goes in there. 3 marks just for doing that. There you go. That's all it is. You just have to get used to it. You know, just practice these. If you're not sure, just print out the worksheet for pie charts. It's on my Padlet website. You can get them on there. Yeah, if you want to practice these, and just it's just a matter of just practicing really, because it is dead fiddly. I'll be honest with you. Yeah, that's that one done. 3 marks for that. Let's move on. Question 5, draw a hexagon. Well, it doesn't say regular hexagon, so you don't have to be completely accurate. You can draw any hexagon, and a hexagon has to have 6 sides. So you could draw, definitely use pencil and ruler though. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There you go. Let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there you go. There's a 6-sided shape. Doesn't have to be perfect. You know, as long as it's got 6 sides, that's all they're looking for. Yeah. It doesn't say a regular hexagon. If it said regular hexagon, it would have to be completely. The lines have to be completely the same length as each other, and the shape has to be completely symmetrical, which is really difficult. Very unlikely they're gonna. In fact, yeah, I very much doubt they're going to ask you to do a regular hexagon for level 1. Maybe for level 2, they might. Not for level 1 though. So any 6-sided shape is absolutely fine. Then it says, here is the shape. How many lines of symmetry does it have? Well, let's draw them. Let's see. So lines of symmetry just means mirror lines. So there's one straight down the middle. That's 1. So I went from a point to the point that goes inside, like a corner. Let's call that a corner. So I'll point to a corner. That's 1. There's another one. Point to a corner. That's 2. 3. 4. 5. Yeah. That looks nice, doesn't it? 5 for that. Yeah, always just recheck, just to be on the safe side. A lot of people got this wrong, which I was quite surprised by. Just draw the lines of symmetry. If you can't see it, turn the page, you know, just spin it around. You'll be able to see it. You know, don't just look at it from one angle. Don't look at one view. Turn the page, literally just turn it. You'll see the other ones. Which of these words describe angle C in the shape above? Angle C is right there. Okay, so there's your angle right there. Well, a right angle is 90 degrees, so it's not that. Right angle looks like an L shape. It's less than a right angle, which is acute. So it's definitely this one. Yep. I can show you what these look like. So obtuse is more than 90, so it's like that. So it's like it's, you know, when it's 90 degrees, when it's opening up. So when it's opening up, that's an obtuse angle. Acute is less than 90. Right angle is like that, like a L shape. Reflex is more than, 180, but less than 360. And a straight angle is just a horizontal line. That's 180 degrees. So definitely that looks like that, doesn't it? Less than 90, which is acute. Yeah, you need to know what these look like. Yep, so do have a look at angles if you're not sure. Number 6, Martin is a groundsman at a sports club. He records the percentage of grass coverage in 12 places on a sports pitch. Martin lists the results. Martin starts to show this information in a grouped frequency table. Okay, he will use 5 groups of equal size. Complete the grouped frequency table for Martin. So let's have a look. So they've done one for us, 1 to 20. They've put a tally mark in there and they've written the frequency. So we need to complete the rest. So it has to have 5 equal groups. Let me see, just looking at the numbers, it goes up to 91. That's the biggest one. So that's going from 1 to 20. So that's 20 numbers. So you've got 1 to 20. So the next one must start with 21. And oops, why have I done that? 21 to 40 must be, because it's 20. So it's going up in 20s, and then 41 to 60, 61 to 80, 81 to 100. Yes, that'll make sure we've got all of them. We've not got any more than 100 in these values. So they've already done one for you, 1 to 20. They've already done that one right there. Yeah, there's a tally mark in there. Frequency, just how many? So that's one. That one's done. Let's see how many there are for 21 to 40. So 1, 2, 3, and that's it. So 3 for that. 41 to 60. 41 to 60. So 1, 2, 3, and that's it. 3 for that. Okay. 61 to 80. Let's do it a different way. 1, 2, 3. 3 for that as well. And 81 to 100, yeah, we've only got this one and this one. Yeah, it's a good idea to cross off the list while you're doing it. We should have we should have 12 places, it tells you. Should have 12. Let's count them. 1 plus 3 is 4, 7, 10. Yeah, we do get 12. Don't forget to fill in the total as well. 3 marks just for doing that. I think that's not too bad. Yeah, just make sure you get 12. If you don't get 12, you've gone wrong somewhere. Just always recheck your answers. Let's move on. Martin clears all the rubbish left at the sports club. He counts all the plastic drink bottles left each day for 60 days. The table shows the results. Martin wants to display this as this information in a chart. Draw a chart to show this information. So they've not specified what chart you can draw. Me personally, I would stick to a bar chart. It's the easiest one out of all of them. So how many boxes have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It's 14 big boxes, and the frequency goes up to 23. Just use a sensible scale for this. I would probably use, let's call it 2s. 0 there. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Yeah, you don't need to do all of them. Maximum we've got is 23. And label this, obviously that is frequency. Yeah, that's our frequency column. Frequency 9 times out of 10, I think, yeah, pretty much all the time. In fact, frequency goes on your side here. Everything else goes in the bottom. So you've got number of plastic bottles, number of plastic. Don't forget to label the axes. Yeah, plastic bottles, that should say. 0 to 9. Have we got enough space? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 values. 2. Yeah, I'm going to leave a space. So for this section right here, let's do that from 0 to 9. That bar there. So it's going to be like a bar chart. Yeah. So for that bar, is going to be 0 to 9, 10 to 19. For that, let's leave a space because we can. 10 to 19, 20 to 29. Leave a space, 30 to 39. Obviously, you don't have to do it like this. There's loads of ways of doing these. 40 to 49. Yeah. Let's use a ruler. Sorry, straight lines. So you need, obviously, you're going to need a ruler and a pencil for this. 2 for the first one. Dead fiddly on here. There's my first one, but try and fix it. This is why you should do it with a pencil and a pen, because even on here it's dead fiddly. 12 for the next one. 12 is there. So I left a space on mine. Right. There you go, that's fixed. Oops. Delete that. 15 for the next one. Well, 15 is between 14 and 16. See why I use these? Because it's dead easy to work out where the halfway is. Halfway is there. Fix that, don't worry. Let's fix it now, in fact. Let me just zoom in. Yep, that should be there. Yep. Yeah, just make sure these are joined up. What's the next one? 23. Again, 23 is going to be between 22 and 24, which is there. Yeah. Yeah. Could have used a line graph for this, you know, it's absolutely fine. And you could have used a proper scale for this. It doesn't really make a difference. No, just make sure these things are accurate, because you could get marked down for stuff like this. Yeah. And the last one is 8. Where's that? 8 is right there. Yeah, something like that. It's good enough. There's your bar chart, if you can see that. Again, you know, you don't have to do it like this. There's loads of ways. You know, that's just one example. I'd probably do these last, to be honest. You know, these type of questions. They're dead easy. You know, you should know how to make a bar chart. Let's move on. Question 7. Here is a prism. All the corners of the prism are right angles. How many faces are there on the prism? So you need to know what faces mean. So faces are any flat surfaces. So let's label it. So I've got 1 at the top there. There's another 1, 3, 4, 5 at the bottom, 6 on that side, 7 for the front, and 8 on the back. So I've got 8. It's a good way of doing it. Yeah. Delete all these. So yeah, it's a really good way of doing it. Just make sure you, if you can't, you know, if you can't see it, if you can't visualize it, do label each one, and you will be able to see it. Yeah, and do it in any order. I just did it in that order. Makes no difference. Then it says, same question. Centimeter grid below shows 4 different views of the prism. So what diagram 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which diagram shows the plan view? So again, you need to know what these mean. Plan view means from the top, like a bird's eye view. Well, there's the top right there, this bit here, and you'll see this bit here. So you're not going to see anything else. So that is technically the same as the bottom as well. So the bottom is just that bit there, which is 5 by 3. Nothing else is sticking out. So yeah, 5 by 3, 5 squares by 3 squares, definitely diagram 2 for that one. A lot of people got that wrong. You need to know what plan view means, and you know, you need to visualize it. If you can't visualize it, just shade it in. Which bits are they talking about? Plan view, you're only going to see those top 2 flat surfaces. So let me just delete. In fact, let me delete that. You're only going to see those 2 faces at the top there that I've just shaded in. You're not going to see anything else. And what does that look like? It's 5 centimeters across by 3 centimeters for that dimension right there. Then it says, which diagram shows the back view? Well, if that's the front view there, the back view is the opposite of the front. So if you're standing here, what does it look like? Well, you're going to see an L shape similar to the front view, but it's going to be flipped. It's going to be a flipped image of the front view. So it's going to be not number 3, it's going to be number 4. It's going to look like that. Yeah, again, you're going to have to visualize what it looks like, but it's the opposite of the front view, basically, the reverse of the front view, which is number 4. Yeah, don't spend ages on something like this. It's only 1 mark. Let's move on. Question 8. Penny is the manager of a nursery for preschool children. She knows that the ratio of number of adults to number of children must be 1 to 8. Penny has 56 children at the nursery. Work out the number of adults Penny needs for 56 children. 2 marks for that. So for any ratio question, I always write down the ratio. So it's a 1 to 8. What does the 1 represent? Well, the 1 is number of adults to number of children. It's the order that they tell you. Yeah. And it's not always the case where you add the ratio. You know, every single time I say this, people assume, oh, I'm going to add the ratio and then divide it by that much and so on. It's not always the case. Yeah. It totally depends. What information have they told you? In the question, they've said 56 children at the nursery. They've not told you the whole amount. They've not told you the total number of people at the nursery. They've just told you how many children are there, which is 56 children. So we know that there's 56 children. How many parts is that? Well, that's 8 parts. So 8 parts is the same as 56 children. Yeah, they must be the same thing. So if 8 parts equals 56 children, or let's call them people, because obviously we're talking about adults as well. Adults are people, children are people. Let's put that in brackets, in fact. So we've got 56 people. 1 part would be 56. Oops, let me rewrite that. 56 divided by 8, which is 7. Yeah, 7. Just checking. 7 people. Let's call it 7 people. That bit is your crucial bit, finding out what 1 part represents. When you find this out, you can work out any number of parts. And if it's asking for 2 parts, you just double it. If it's asking for 8 parts, you times it by 8. If it's asking for 99 parts, you times it by 99. So, working out 1 part, if you can work out what 1 part represents, that's your crucial bit. You can work out any number of parts. They're asking for the number of adults. Well, the adults had just 1 part. Okay, so 1 part is equal to 7 people. We've already got our answer. So adults, there are 7 adults. Can't spell adults. There you go. 2 marks for that. There are other ways as well, but yeah, let's stick to this way of doing things. You always write down the ratio first. What information have they told you? If they told us the total amount of people, then yeah, you would add the ratio and then go from there. But they didn't tell us the total number of people. They just told us the children. Yeah, and that's just a small part of how many people are there. So when they tell us in the question, when they say, yeah, the total number of people is this much, that's when you add the ratio together and do it that way. Yes, that's a different method. So always recheck what information have they given you. Then it says, use reverse calculation to show a check of your answer. They love to throw this reverse calculate. They've actually said what to do. Use reverse calculation. Sometimes they don't even say that. Sometimes they just say show a check of your answer. But you always have to do the same thing. You always have to do the opposite of what you just did. So in this case, let's start off with this 7. That's our starting point now. The opposite of divide by 8 is times by 8. And you should get 56. And in this case, children. Yeah, don't just leave it as 56. Do write what it represents. Children, not children. Yeah, and you just get 1 mark just for doing that. Dead easy. Let's move on. Question 9. Scott is a journalist. He's writing an article about fish and chip shops in his town. Table shows prices of a standard portion of fish and chips in 5 local shops. Okay, so we've got 5 shops. Scott thinks the mean price of a standard portion of fish and chips in these 5 shops is £6.85. Is Scott correct? So there's your keyword, mean. We need to know what that is. So you have to add them all up and divide by how many you've got. So let's do the total over how many. That's the formula. Well, yeah, you can call it a formula if you want. That's the way you work it out. Let's do the total first. So you got let's work it out here. 7.6. I know it's obvious, but you do have to show this, what you're actually doing, even though we're using a calculator. 5.85 plus 6.65 plus 8.00. You don't have to put that, but yeah, that's fine. Just put it down. So 7.6 plus 6.25 plus 5.85 plus 6.65 plus 8. I get 34.35. That's total. So that's 34.35 34.35 over how many have we got? Well, we've got 5 shops. You have to divide it by 5. So that divided by 5 is 6.87. That's in pounds. Yeah, because these were in pounds. So we've got 2 marks so far. We need to answer the question, is Scott correct? What did he think? He thinks the mean price is £6.85. Well, no, he's slightly off. He's 2 pence off. So you can say no, mean price is £6.87. Yeah, and that's your 3rd mark. For part B, use estimation to show a check of your answer. Right, so this is, again, show a check. We have to go backwards, but we have to use estimation. That's another key word. So we're not using the exact same numbers as we've used already. We have to round these. So let's call this £6.87. Let's call it £7. And instead of dividing by 5, you're gonna multiply by 5. And we should get roughly £34. So obviously this is £35. And you can say which is roughly £34.35. Yeah, you're pretty close to £35, isn't it? That's what they want you to do. They want you to work backwards and get close to £34.35, which it is. Yep, so don't use the exact figures. When it says estimation, definitely round them and then do your reverse calculation. Let's move on. Question 10. Matteo works for the local council. Council has 1,260 grit bins. Council will increase the number of grit bins by 5%. Matteo thinks there will be more than 1,300 grit bins after the increase. Okay, is Matteo correct? 3 marks for this. Okay. So, percentage question. These come up so many times. We need to work out 5% of 1,260. Yep, just do it in one step. Just do it this way. So obviously you do 5 divided by 100 times 1,260. That's 63 bins. Yeah, get 63 on my calculator. Because it's an increase, you add it on. That gives you 1,323 bins in total. Okay, so the 63 bins was the 5%, and because it's an increase, you add it on. That's how many you get in total. He thinks there'll be more than 1,300 bins after the increase. Is he correct? Yes. 1,323 is more than 1,300. There's your 3 marks. Dead easy. Question 11. Is this the last one? Yeah, it is. Lanza is a gardener. She has this plan of a garden. Lanza needs to put grass turf to cover this garden. She charges £16 a square metre to put grass turf in the garden. Lanza thinks she will need to charge more than £800 to put grass turf in this garden. Is she correct? 5 marks. Oh, so it's a lot of marks to give you a lot of space. Probably won't need it, but let's have a look. Again, first thing you should ask yourself, is this to do with area or is it perimeter? Yep, they could give you the same shape. They could be talking about perimeter or they could be talking about area. What are the clues? Well, where is this grass turf going? She's going to cover this garden. That's the first clue. And she charges £16 a square meter. Well, that looks like this. Square meter is the same as meter squared. Anything to do with the unit squared, definitely to do with area. Yeah, so if you start working out the perimeter for this question, completely wrong, you won't get any marks for that. So how do we work out area? Well, we know how to work out area of a rectangle. Area of a rectangle is length times width. but this is not a rectangle. This is an L shape. So you're going to have to do something to the shape. There's loads of ways you can do this. You can complete it as a full rectangle if you wish, or what I'm going to do, I'm going to split the shape. I'm going to split like this. So I've got two rectangles. Let's call this rectangle A. Let's call this rectangle B. You can split it another way as well. As long as you get two rectangles, makes no difference. You know, you're still going to get the same area. The area is not going to change. Let's work out area A first, which is length times width. You only need one length, one width. So I've got 9. Oh, I'm going to need that length, that width there, from there to there. Oops. A bit fiddly this. I need that length right there. Yeah. Well, if it's 8 all the way here, if it's 3.5 there, if it's 3.5 on that side, it's got to be 3.5 from there to there as well, which I don't need. So it's 8 take away 3.5. So 8 take away 3.5, which is, I can see that it is 4.5 meters. So this is 4.5 meters. Yeah, so now I can do 9 times 4.5. You just need one length, one width. So that's 9 times 4.5. I get 40.5 meters squared. That's your first mark. Don't go crazy with these areas or perimeters. You know, for area, you just need one length, one width. You don't need to multiply all the lengths, all the widths. You know, you don't. It's nothing that complicated. Yeah, just do one length multiplied by one width. That's all it is. Let's do area B. I just need one length and one width. So 4 times 3.5, which is 14, exactly 14 meters squared. That's my second mark. So if that's area A, that's area B. Total area will be both of them together. So total area, where this grass seed is going, both those areas added together which is 54.5 meters squared. That's my third mark. So we've got 3 marks already, 3 out of 5 marks. You know, even if you can't answer the question, you know, you guys can definitely do this, and you know, it's better than nothing. What's next? She charges £16 a square meter. So for every square meter, it's going to be £16. Let's make a note of that. For every meter squared, it costs £16. How many meters squared have we got? Well, we've got this much. So how do I get from that to that? Well, I'll have to times it by 54.5. So if I multiply that side by 54.5, I'll have to multiply this side by 54.5 as well. It's proportional. So it's a really good way of figuring out whether I'm multiplying or dividing, what you're actually doing. So it's 16 times that, which is £872. And another clue as well, you know, he thought it was going to be, let's go back to the question. Sorry, she thought it was going to be more than £800. If you get close to £800 or close to what they're talking about, you know you're on the right lines. You know, if you get something silly like £2 or £2 million or something crazy like that, if it's nowhere near what they're talking about, you know you've gone wrong somewhere. Yeah. So again, that's another clue as well. We're pretty close to what they were talking about. She thinks she'll need to charge more than £800. Is she correct? Yes. 872 is more than £800. Yeah, or something along those lines. So what was that? 1, 2, 3. There's your 4th mark showing that, and there's your 5th mark answering the question. There's your 5 marks. Done. That's the paper done. Yep. So keep practicing. I'm gonna do, if I get time, I might do another one. It's 8:30 here, and I need to have some dinner. So I'm gonna have some dinner. I might do another one after my dinner. I shall see you guys in a bit.